Here's BBC One with a bit of exposure some people don't want. This is BBC One, now the news, with Jane Hill.
BBC governors issue a robust defence in the row over Iraq coverage. They say reporting was impartial and ask Alistair Campbell to withdraw allegations of bias. After weeks of pressure, Geoffrey John asked not to be ordained Bishop of Reading. Precision timing from the Swiss, Roger Federer wins his first Wimbledon title. And after the news, it's 25 years since the birth of the first test tube baby, Louise Brown. Panorama investigates the regulation of a baby business now worth millions of pounds a year. Good evening. In the last hour, the BBC's governors have issued a strongly worded statement backing the corporation in its argument with Downing Street over its Iraq coverage. It follows a meeting this evening where they've been discussing the bitter disputes between the corporation and Number 10. Earlier, the row intensified when the Prime Minister attacked as absurd the claims reported by the BBC that the military threat from Iraq had been deliberately exaggerated. In a statement tonight, the BBC governors said the BBC's coverage had been entirely impartial. It said exceptional circumstances allowed for the use of a single source for the Andrew Gilligan Today programme report about the September intelligence dossier. And the statement said the BBC had never accused the Prime Minister of lying, and that the corporation did not have an agenda in its war coverage. Our media correspondent Nick Hyam has been following the day's events.
The BBC's Director General begged Dyke this afternoon, scoffing at suggestions the corporation's in trouble.
You all die for the BBC, Mr. Dyke?
He was on his way to an emergency meeting called by the BBC governors under Chairman Gavin Davis. They asked for a briefing from top managers ahead of tomorrow's report from the Foreign Affairs Select Committee. The BBC's part-time governors are themselves appointed by the government. They're meant to protect the BBC's independence, but also to regulate it and handle complaints from viewers and listeners. In turn, they appoint the senior managers, like the Director General and Director of News. Alistair Campbell has angrily denied the BBC's claim that he sexed up the first of the government's two dossiers on the threat posed by Iraq. Today, Tony Blair himself stepped into the row. He told The Observer, "You could not make a more serious charge against a Prime Minister, that I ordered our troops into conflict on the basis of intelligence evidence that I falsified. I take it as about as serious an attack on my integrity as there could possibly be." Ministers say the BBC should admit its report was wrong.
The BBC is not in a position simply to make allegations unless it's absolutely clear that those allegations are true.
But BBC managers are standing by their reporter Andrew Gilligan and his source in the security services. They say nothing he was told has been proved wrong, and much has been confirmed by the government. And tonight the BBC governors backed him too, in the strongest terms.
The board reiterates that the BBC's overall coverage of the war and the political issues surrounding it has been entirely impartial, and it emphatically rejects Mr. Campbell's claim that large parts of the BBC had an agenda against the war. We call on Mr. Campbell to withdraw these allegations of bias against the BBC and its journalists.
The BBC says Andrew Gilligan and the Today programme followed proper guidelines, and it says it's never accused the Prime Minister of lying or trying to take Britain to war on false pretences. There had been suggestions the BBC might be prepared to retract the story, though not to apologise. Instead, the BBC and its governors seem set on continuing confrontation with government. Nick Hyam, BBC News and Broadcasting House.
Our political editor Andrew Marr is with me. Andrew, what reaction tonight from the government?
Well, I've spoken to Alistair Campbell. I think it's fair to say that he isn't happy. Indeed, Number 10, I think, will be bitterly disappointed that after 2.5 hours of questioning and debate involving all of the BBC's governors and senior management, there has been such a robust defence. The kind of words being used, the Prime Minister does regard this as a fundamental attack on his integrity, and that won't change because of the posturing of the BBC tonight. that Mr. Campbell regards this as particularly difficult because the BBC has still not answered what he says is the fundamental question: was the original story true or false? He says that the BBC's been unprofessional in its handling of this, and that it is continuing to defend the indefensible and dig itself into a hole. So I think, on balance, not a great deal of comfort coming from the government.
Tomorrow, the Foreign Affairs Committee then publishes its report. Where does it all go from here?
Very, very hard to say. This report will be crawled all over. Alistair Campbell will be looking for headlines. Everybody will be claiming victory. There's also the Intelligence Service Committee report to come as well. But I think this is a bitter confrontation. I think it's got incredibly personal. I think everybody's blood is up, and I think it's going to go on for a very long time to come.
Andrew Marr, many thanks. The gay clergyman, Canon Jeffrey John, who was appointed Bishop of Reading, has turned the job down. He'd been under immense pressure from traditionalist groups and said he had to consider the unity of the church. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. Rowan Williams, later called for a pause for thought to reflect on what he said had been a painful confrontation.
In the name of the Lord, if Jeffrey John had kept quiet about his sexuality, he might still be on course to be Bishop of Reading, but he acknowledged once having an actively homosexual relationship and prompted a power struggle in the church. After a month of bitter public dispute, the leader of the church signalled retreat for liberal Anglicans. Jeffrey John would step down for the sake of unity.
We have to grasp that Canon John's appointment has brought to light a good deal of unhappiness among people who could by no means be described as extremists, many of whom have willingly testified to their personal respect for Canon John.
But Dr. Williams said the debate over homosexuality would continue. He said he'd encountered shocking hatred and ignorance.
The level of foolish and hurtful prejudice in our society is still uncomfortably high. Christians who collude with this are simply not living out their calling.
Vehement opposition from Anglicans overseas, such as the Traditionalist Church of Botswana, played a crucial part in forcing Canon John's resignation. These fast-growing churches believe the Bible forbids any active homosexuality. Some even threaten to split with the Church of England. Dr. Williams said those ties should not be risked. In the Oxford diocese, traditionalist Anglicans also rejected Canon John because he refused to say he was sorry for his homosexual relationship. They too represent a powerful lobby in the church.
I'm relieved. I was very, very concerned about the whole situation. I think it did have the potential to completely divide the Church of England, certainly this diocese, and to lead to a realignment in the whole Anglican communion.
But tonight, the first recriminations. Friends of Canon John say he would never have withdrawn under his own initiative. It happened only after a 6-hour meeting at Lambeth Palace.
I think it's a complete and total disaster. This is a battle that needs to be fought, and the sooner it is fought, the better.
Jeffrey John's appointment has created a bitter public dispute over what was supposed to be a quiet discussion within the church. By stepping down, he may have averted a crisis now, but the church's deep-seated divisions over sexuality are more entrenched than ever. Robert Piggott, BBC News, Lambeth Palace.
An American soldier has been killed in a shooting in Baghdad. He'd been talking to a group of students at the university. The incident comes after a British freelance journalist was killed in the city yesterday. From Baghdad, here's James Reynolds.
It was meant to be a safe area, the Baghdad University campus, with thousands of students preparing for exams. 2 US soldiers were inside the gates, apparently at ease. One headed into the cafeteria to buy some drinks. This man saw what happened. The soldier was leaving the cafeteria when a man came up to him. He said, "Hello, mister." Then he shot him in the head. The soldier fell. The gunman ran off. The army came and sealed off the campus. Soldiers began to search men, women, and cars, trying to track down the killer, but they haven't got him yet. The attack follows yesterday's killing of a British freelance journalist, Richard Wilde, also shot at close range in daylight in Iraq's capital. Right now, Baghdad's safe areas are being struck off the list, giving the US Army something to think about.
Here's the problem. If US soldiers go out in pairs on foot, they'll risk more attacks like the one here. But if they stay in groups, in tanks and in jeeps, they'll find it tricky to win any friends, hearts or minds. James Reynolds, BBC News, Baghdad.
This year's Orange Order parade around Drumcree Church in Portadown has passed off without incident. There have been violent confrontations with police in previous years when the marchers were prevented from parading down the nationalist Garvahi Road. Today they dispersed peacefully after handing in a letter of protest to the police. Police have said their investigation into the death of an experienced parachutist is now a murder inquiry. 20-year-old Stephen Hilder died in a jump in Lincolnshire on Friday. Detectives have discovered that key parts of his equipment had been deliberately severed so that neither of his parachutes could open. Doctors are carrying out a high-risk operation to separate twin sisters who had joined at the head. A team of about 100 medical staff is involved in the surgery on Laden and Layla Bijani, who are from Iran. The operation is taking place in Singapore and could last up to 3 days.
Bijani appeared before the world's media. They spoke of their dreams and their anxieties about undergoing this highly dangerous operation to separate them after 29 years of being joined at the head.
We feel happy, excited, and a little bit nervous.
Raffles Hospital in Singapore is underwriting the £250,000 cost, with every step of this unprecedented operation closely followed.
Within the next few minutes, the first cut will be made on the twins.
Photographs of the marathon surgery show a team member kissing the conjoined twins at the start of what they call Operation Hope. Then the administration of the anaesthetic, before the huge team of eminent surgeons led by neurosurgeon Dr. Keith Goh embark on the separation itself. Doctors decided the best way to carry out the operation was with the two women in the seated position. They then took a vein from the thigh of one of the twins. This is to be used as a graft to reroute blood supplies when the two brains are separated, because at the moment only one major blood vessel supplies both brains. A few hours into the surgery, the news is good.
I would say they're pretty much going according to plan, and we are quite pleased about the progress of the surgery.
Doctors have told the Iranian twins that they each have a 50-50 chance of survival. If successful, Lala wants to become a journalist and Laden a lawyer. They will also make medical history. John McIntyre, BBC News.
Now, with all the news from Centre Court and the rest of the sport, here's Mary Rhodes. Mary.
Thanks very much, Jane. Well, the men's final here at Wimbledon reflected the whole championships, really. Flashes of brilliance, but failing to fully ignite. That's to take nothing away from the new champion Roger Federer, though, who looks certain to add more titles to his name after he beat Mark Philippoussis in straight sets. Well, rather fittingly, the last match on Centre Court this year involved Martina Navratilova as she equalled Billie Jean King's Wimbledon record. Her 20th title. Now, away from Wimbledon, and Ralf Schumacher is threatening to depose his elder brother Michael from the Formula One throne. Leading from pole position in the French Grand Prix, he led throughout to win back-to-back races, and his Williams teammate Juan Pablo Montoya came second, and Michael Schumacher finished third. Wimbledon for this year, Jane.
Mary, thanks very much. Now let's see what the weather has in store with Alex Deakin. Alex.
Thank you very much, Jane. The best of the sunshine today was along the south coast of England. 10 hours of it in Bournemouth, and just at the coast at Bognor Regis, we reached 24 degrees Celsius. Now, I think we'll all get a little bit warmer in the coming days. Temperatures starting to rise, and so by the middle of the week in particular, across southern and central England and Wales, we'll start to see temperatures of 24, 25, or possibly even 26 Celsius. That's the best part of 80 Fahrenheit. It's not going to be gloriously sunny everywhere, however, because we're going to have some weather fronts spoiling the sunshine. They'll certainly bring some cloud and outbreaks of rain across Scotland and Northern Ireland through the night tonight. So we'll start off the working week with a lot of cloud and a fairly damp and dismal picture here. Some of that rain spreading across northwest England and North Wales through the morning too. But the rest of England and Wales dry and bright, I think, with some good sunny spells, especially to start the day. The cloud will come and go here, but I think southern Britain staying fine and dry. Some of those outbreaks of rain, those spraying across northern England, possibly a shower or two across the North Midlands, maybe into Lincolnshire through the day. But the main rain area will work its way clear to the northeast, much of Scotland and Northern Ireland, brightening up through the day with some sunny spells, just a scattering of showers. And where it brightens up here, temperatures 20 or 21 degrees Celsius, but 23 or 24 in the southeast. where we see some good sunny spells through the afternoon. Now on Tuesday we've still got a weather front hanging around. That's going to bring a lot of cloud across central parts of the country with some outbreaks of rain. Some of them could be heavy for a time. They'll work a little bit further northwards through the day. But northern Scotland probably having a fine day on Tuesday. Fine in the south as well, but a lot of cloud and starting to turn humid. 25 the top temperature. Most of us look like having a dry, fine day on Wednesday. Jane.
Excellent, Alex. Thank you very much. Finally, a reminder of tonight's main story. The governors of the BBC have issued a robust defence in the row with Downing Street over the war in Iraq. They say the BBC's reporting was impartial and have asked Alistair Campbell to withdraw his allegations of bias. You can see more on that story throughout the night over on BBC News 24. But now here on BBC One Panorama, more than 70,000 test tube babies have been born since Louise Brown was born in 1978. But how well are we regulating what's becoming a multi-million-pound baby business? Here's Shelley Doffey.